All right, today is the 18th of April, and Emily will be presenting about user mapping for what's the feature, Emily? What's the feature that you're working on?
So it's user mapping is the feature for import and integrate. So
Okay, that makes
one,
sense. I was
it's one
like, it's a user
feature.
mapping, but for what? For
Yeah.
user mapping.
Yeah. So I can give a brief, I think I talked with a few people about this, but I'll give a brief overview of what user mapping is. Oh, so user map, do you see the screen? I had so many screens open. Is it the issue that you see right now?
The
Cool.
issue, yes.
Cool. So user mapping is kind of the experience of when you import another group into GitLab. That import comes with contributions that used to be assigned to users. And when you import, you need to assign these to new users. So before how this was done is you had to match the exact username on like where the import was coming from and where it was going and the exact email. So those users had to have the exact same email and exact same username. If they didn't, their contributions would not be mapped. There was not really a way to map any contributions. And contributions are anything from like issues, comments, things in the design tab, MRs, all of that. So it was quite difficult before. There was no way to go back and error handle on this. If things didn't match, they just wouldn't map. So the user mapping UX is really the improved flow for this, where now we're going to create something called placeholder users that when things are imported, they're assigned to these placeholder users, and a group owner can come in and reassign those either manually or through a CSV file. So it allows a lot more kind of control over the errors. It allows a lot more control over where these contributions are getting assigned to. Overall, it makes the whole process a lot easier and it makes it so you don't have to do so much like upfront work of matching people's usernames and emails before import. So that's the basic gist of it. I think I went through this a little bit before too, where I put together like a map of how this new kind of flow would work. A lot of this doesn't exist right now, so it's brand new. But how it works is a group owner would start an import here. And right when they start the import, placeholder users are created and assigned to any contributions that are imported. They receive like a notification that the import was successful and are able to like review what happens. And through that review, part of it is prompting them to go reassign contributions to existing users where they've imported it into. So they can either do that manually in the UI or they can upload a CSV file, which will do it automatically in the UI, where they can then just check over and confirm everything is good to go. Once they confirm, the person who is getting assigned these contributions will get an email notification to either accept or reject. If they accept, everything gets mapped to them and the placeholder user disappears. If they reject, it just goes back to the group owner and they have to rethink of how to reassign this. So that's the basic flow that I'm working with. And the feedback I was really looking for was, let me navigate to that one, was just the simple flow of kind of reassigning contributions because the CSV, the automatic one, will be built on top of this. Um, so basically, what we were proposing is this has to happen at the group level. So we thought the typical spot for this, and group owners have access to it, is the members page at the group level. Since the admin level is like a little bit too high, so we had to find something at the group level where this made sense. So we're proposing just adding a new tab to the members page that has placeholders, where you'll then have,
Emily, are you sharing the Figma file?
I'm sharing oh, what can you see right now?
The issue.
Oh, wait. See, I think I'm sharing the wrong screen. Okay, yeah, I was sharing the wrong screen.
Okay.
Um, I, this is what I was walking through before was this flow, but I think I had the user mapping thing open in two screens. So my apologies. Um, yeah, so let me get this open. So, yeah, so this is the page we're proposing is adding a new tab to the group members page that had placeholders. And within that, you'd have awaiting reassignment and reassigned. So users, when an import was successful, this is where you could come find your placeholder user. All of the ones that you've imported would show up here. So there could be thousands, which is why we also have the CSV option. So you can do that automatically, not manually through the UI. Um, and here you would be able to see who the placeholder user is, what their source is, so where they came from and the old username, the status of their reassignment, and a drop down to be able to reassign them to a user in this group that already exists. So in there, you could go down, find that user. Um, this is just the group of users from this like user drop down in pajamas. So I don't know where these names came from, but you'd be able to select one of these. Once selected, you'd reassign them. And once reassigned, until that user actually accepts it, they'll be left in like a pending approval state, where you can then notify them again of this, or you can cancel the reassignment. And then if the user accepts, the reassignment status changes to complete. If they reject, there is a rejected status that goes back into this kind of this where they have to re-choose who they're reassigning it to. And then as a user who gets reassigned, you would receive an email very similar to our invite email, just letting you know that your group owner wants to reassign contributions to you. And do you approve this with some details on this and like a link to the docs to read up on it? And they'd either get approved, rejected, or if in the meantime the owner has canceled the request and they click either of these, they'll just get a reassignment canceled notification. Um, but yeah, I'm basically looking for feedback on this flow in general, as well as like UI nitpicks on this page, like this specific flow. Also, sorry for sharing the wrong screen earlier, but
That's okay. I actually was able to follow you, so that was good.
okay.
Um, I kind of wrote down a few questions while you were talking, so I have three for you.
Yes.
The first one is in the screen that you're showing right now. Once you successfully reassign the placeholder, so like the third screen down, maybe, um, does the do they yeah, so once they're in this level and they're successfully reassigned, are they just like restated in the members list? Like this member would also show up in the members list?
Yeah, so how it actually works is the new user, the one that's called Blue Snake right now, would already have been in the members list before. This is just kind of tracking. This is like a read-only tracking page for group owners to see what contributions have been given to that user. So it's like um kind of a read-only page. This user already exists, but it's more to see like whose contributions the placeholder user was assigned to, if that makes sense.
Okay, so like for them to go back and see historically, but they can't see the actual contributions. They only see the old placeholder username and right?
Yeah, they'd be able to see the old, like the source. So they'd be able to see where it came from, the old username, and where those contributions went to. And the reason for this is there's a need for them to go back and view this, because if they import another group underneath this and it's the same user, those contributions will automatically be mapped. So they'll want to see kind of like where it's coming from a read only, but only group owners can access this page. So it's not like a general availability page for everyone in the group.
Okay. And there would be no need for others in the group to see it. Like you wouldn't want to combine this with the members list itself, right?
No, this is basically only for the group owners, especially because the placeholder users after they're reassigned are just deleted. It's more of like a need to know page of where contributions went.
Okay.
Because actually the awaiting reassignment tab and the placeholders tab are only available for group owners. They're not available for people under that. With
Okay. And then I guess my only other question is would the two tabs awaiting reassignment and reassigned, did you think about potentially just combining those into a single list and just depending on the reassignment status badge, like showing them that way?
so that was how I originally designed it. But when I was talking with the team, they really wanted awaiting reassignment. It was like an action they had to take. So the badge at the top, if it was all of them in one list, it could be like there's hundreds in this list, but not all of them
Mm,
are awaiting reassignment. So splitting them up into this two made it very obvious. Like if something is awaiting reassignment, you have to take action. But if something's already reassigned, these are just things that you can go look at potentially later.
yeah. Okay, that makes sense. I think that's what we actually do when you invite somebody to a GitLab instance. It's like in the admin area, it says pending approval, I think, or something like that, and it is a separate tab.
Yeah.
Okay. Beat the
That's
guy. I know you had another question too.
I am struggling to take notes. I don't know what has happened to my brain. I just can't like follow conversations anymore. Uh, yeah, I just had one question like, is there a use case when a reassignment would require to be revoked?
So it can't happen. I did ask about that. I was like, and for the MVC of this, they just have once a reassignment happens, it happens. So there's no revoking it once it's already kind of like completed. You can revoke it before they accept. So when it's still pending approval, you can cancel the reassignment, but there's no way to go back once things are already reassigned.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Does sound a little odd though. Like, what if someone else um is, I don't know, what if an imposter accepts my assignment and then I can do nothing about it? Like, no one can do not anything about it?
Yeah, so I guess the thing is it would have to be the group owner that sends it out to the imposter. Um, so I guess the risk level they've decided is fairly low because it's an invite coming directly from their group owner, going directly to that user. And I guess if someone is on your email, it would just they'd accept it, but it would map to you anyways. So they've decided it was low enough risk. And I guess it's way lower risk than what is happening right now, where things are just auto-assigning without any
Yeah,
check,
that's
um,
true. Yeah.
which is a big problem, because the group owners can't actually check who is being assigned to what right now. It just happens, and there's a lot of problems with that.
Yeah, Gina, go ahead. I'll type for you.
Okay. Let me get my words together here. The following up on that conversation, what if like the user that you're sending the invite to has now left the company? Like, does that matter at all?
So you can only send the invite to people that exist as a member. Um, so I'm assuming if they've left the company, we've deleted them from the members list.
Okay.
But if not, you would just assign it to someone who's not there anymore. There is also this other method of if you select keep as placeholder, it just keeps the person as a placeholder bot. It never reassigns these contributions, and we keep that placeholder user as like a member. So that's the other option if someone has already left, is we can just keep them as a placeholder user. We don't have to reassign their contributions.
Okay, and keeping them as a placeholder user just means that you're maintaining the same name that they were, whatever that name is in their placeholder user column. Like that's what that means.
Yeah, it just keeps them as that. It's almost like a bot user. We'll just keep everything assigned to that. And there'll be no need to like reassign it in the future. So the use case for that
Interesting.
is if someone like leaves and they're no longer you can assign it, you can just keep it as is.
Okay,
Though
cool.
I do have to see if like that placeholder user appears or takes like a user limit because I know we have limits on users now and I don't know how that actually works if we keep them like this.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Bonnie
I
has
had
a,
one other, oh yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Vic.
I just saw Bonnie's question here. She had asked like once it's a successful reassignment, it will remain in the placeholder list but will be moved to the reassigned sub tab.
Yes, I think that's exactly how it works. So it remains in the placeholder list, but moves
Uh-huh.
to the reassigned subtab. So that's where the placeholder users go. Even though
Okay.
we like, officially kind of deleted them, their data
Uh-huh.
is stored here.
And they'll not show up in the select member list, right?
No, if they've been reassigned, we delete the placeholder.
I just had a quick follow-up on the placeholder topic. I don't know how to word this in the agenda. So here, like, the tag on top of the table, which says reassign placeholder to. So that's like telling an action, which is fine from for this frame, for the one below. But once you've reassigned, so if you go to the frame where you have the new user reassigned, all the way down, so we still like saying an action there, but there's no action. I'm wondering, could
Oh,
we?
that's a good call. Like on this tab, it shouldn't be reassigned. It should just be reassigned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write that down because that's a very good. uh,
How would it work? Like at one time, there's only going to be one placeholder?
no, there can be thousands of placeholders.
Yeah, that's
This
what, like if one is reassigned, okay, this is the reassigned tab. All right,
yeah.
that makes
So
sense.
in the reassign tab, that last one should always just be reassigned or reassigned.
Reassigned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, thanks, Divya. That was a great call out.
Emily, for the I think the screen before where you had the cancel button once you can reassign. Yeah. Is there, when I saw that button, I didn't really exactly know what it meant. Are you going to add like a tooltip to it to explain what it is?
I might just change it to cancel, because you're not the first person that said you weren't sure what that icon meant. And I think it might just we have the real estate, it might just be more clear to change it to cancel. So thanks for
Yeah.
the feedback there, because this has come up before.
Yeah, it also kind of mean block the placeholder user.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I find there's a lot of icons we have that have double meanings because I was also running into that with import, where our import icon is the same as our download icon. Um, and our cancel icon looks the same as our like block icon. So I think if we just change it to cancel, that'll be a lot more clear. You just add.
Yeah, makes sense. And then I had another question also. I was once the email is sent to the user, then you had like a bunch of alerts that could happen. I was just having trouble following where those alerts appear and to who.
Yeah, so this is also kind of copying our existing approve and reject for joining things. So when they click approve reassignment, they're brought into GitLab, and whatever page they're brought into, that alert just shows up at the top of the page. And
Okay.
it's shown to the person that is getting the contributions assigned to them. So or like the person approving or rejecting will see that. and then the group owner will get this email if it's rejected, which is also copied from our invite. If you reject an invite, you get an email like this.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I wonder if it's more clear if I should just add these to a GitLab page instead of just as banners so the engineers also understand it a bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be helpful.
Cool. And then the one flow that I haven't completed yet is if you click match by CSV, it'll open a modal that has a little bit of information on like how to do this and an upload. And once they upload the CSV, all of the I guess not columns, rows in the table will be like auto completed with the matches. But we're still trying to figure out if it should go automatically into this stage or stay at like this review stage where they have to hit reassign. We're tempted to do
Um,
maybe this one if it's like thousands of people so that they don't have to manually go through everything, but that's still up
so
in the
from the second one, if you have to go back to the review stage, how many steps is that?
you just click cancel.
And does it go back to like no one selected in the drop down or similar to what you have on the top?
Yeah, so if you click cancel, it'll go back to this where there's no one selected.
Hmm. I mean, it also depends on how, like, what's the degree of accuracy with this, which currently I have no idea about.
We're expecting, actually, let me open up the Figma on this because I actually designed out some of the states here. So there'll be like a failed state with a CSV where if it failed to match, you'd have to manually go and match together. So it would only send if it actually properly matched. If it didn't match, you'd get like a failed state on that one. And you'd have to go and retry.
Right.
Are the
I think with
ones, oh, go ahead, B.
I'm nothing. You can just go ahead. I'll type.
Are the ones that would, I'm just trying to think of the ease. If let's say you had like 1,000 members in that CSV that you're transferring over, would you uh, put the ones that like need action up towards the top? Is there like sorting in the table based on status or something like that?
That was proposed, but they took it out of MVC. So it would just be you'd have to go through the table to start. But there is an issue open about adding filtering and sorting to this table eventually.
Once you add CSV, is that what you mean? When is the CSV stuff happening actually?
Yeah, so that's just like let me go back here. That's like just instead of reassigning here, you'd match by CSV. I think I have this is very rough. Um, but you'd get like a modal open with like some details and a link to the docs around a CSV. You'd upload it. Once you hit upload and match, it would then auto-populate this into the,
Right.
Mm,
so it would auto-populate the matches into the table.
so I think what you have
Yeah.
represented here can be very helpful if there's a 100% match.
Yeah.
So can it be like, can you create that distinction? Like for 100% matches, this will appear like just go ahead and there's this one action that's, or like things happen automatically, but for ones that are not like 100%, you get to review it first before sending it out.
Oh, I wonder, yeah, I'll ask them if that's like a thing, if we can put like a limit on like maybe under 100, you manually review over 100, it just automatically goes out. Or maybe this is like a setting they can set. where it's like it automatically goes out or you have to manually match. Those are good questions because the CSV one we haven't quite started on yet. So there's a lot of like open questions on how it would work. But
Okay.
yeah, I like the idea of setting a limit or making it like a setting that they have to turn on or off.
Okay. I mean,
'Cause
even for a default experience, that could be a safe path to take because if it does match 100% the same string, then yeah, what are the chances that it requires to be reviewed?
yeah.
Divya, you were saying something, or I interrupted someone. Who was that? Okay.
Nobody, you're fine.
No, that gives me a lot to think about for the CSV one because that's the one that I've been like scared to start so far because I've been trying to figure out how it would work. But this gives me a lot of ideas on how to make that actually work well. And to Gina's point, I think the ideal would be to keep this filter by status, so that you
Hmm.
can filter it. But they were saying this may or may not be something you can do in MVC, so we'll see.
You can still create an issue for
Yeah.
that. They will get to it when they get to it.
Yeah, that's true. Like I'll have it as a follow-up that they has a design complete that they can get
Yeah,
to if it's not
right.
first version.
Yeah. It's a little concerning to me though, without that filter. If you do have like 1,000 people on this list, you'd have to paginate to different pages to even see if there is action. Actually, no, that's not true because it's a waiting. Now I'm trying to figure out the badges that you were showing where you had like failed, pending, etc. Which tab those would show up? They would show up in a waiting reassignment.
Yeah, their reassignment status, it would show up in that tab.
Oh,
So the red ones, but yeah, maybe I'll try and push for the filter by status though, because being able to bring up all the failed ones is
Yeah.
very useful.
Or maybe you don't even have to do a filter at that point. Maybe you can just have them sorted on the back end without the ability for the user to change it. And like that, then you just show all the failed ones first. That would be my only fear is that somebody has to like paginate and find the failed ones.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I'll talk with them about this and see like what we can do. But I like the idea of bringing the failed ones up to the top after the CSV upload.
Mm-hmm. Good job, by the way, for
yeah.
like completely starting this from scratch too. I have to drop, um,
Me too.
but
Yeah, looks
good job.
great.
All right. Okay.
No worries.
Um,
Thank you. I'm pretty much done, so I appreciate all the feedback.
yeah, this is a very loopy one. I mean, it can get very confusing at
Yeah.
places. All
Thank you,
right.
Emily. Great work.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much, Emily, for presenting,
Thank
and thanks
you.
everyone for participating. Bye.
Bye.